All right, just a little quick one about floating. I've heard this term I'm about to say by God knows how many teachers and coaches, and although I agree with it to a certain extent, I mainly disagree with it. If you're, how can I put it? I'll just say the phrase and then you can either disagree with me or agree with me or whatever. Okay, the phrase is on the water. That's all it is. On the water. Now, if you go on pretty much most YouTube videos, um, they'll have, they'll have footage of either them or a decent swimmer, could be like a club swimmer or something, like a good swimmer, okay? And they will say you will need to swim on top of the water, okay? On the surface of the water. There you go. That's probably a better phrase for it. On the surface of the water. But if you actually slow the videos down, okay, so they'll be banging on about on the surface, on the surface, on the surface. But if you actually slow the video down and watch it, because they'll have like underwater cameras and stuff and things that I don't have access to, and you'll see that they're not on the surface of the water at all. They are sitting under the surface of the water. They're not on the surface of the water. It is physically impossible to swim on the water. Physically impossible. Can't do it. There's not one person in the world that can swim on top of the water. The only place I can think that you might maybe be able to do it is the Dead Sea, because there's so much salt that you float a lot higher. So maybe then. I don't know, I've not been there, I've not really seen it, so I don't know. But that's the only place I can possibly think of. Other than that, you cannot, I stress, you cannot swim on top of the water. It is physically impossible. So why are people saying on the surface of the water and teaching on the surface of the water? Because that is what people will literally try to do. They will swim, they will try to swim on the surface of the water. And they wonder why it's hard. Like, you wonder why it's hard. I feel really heavy. That's because gravity's pulling you down. Oh, I can't get my arms over the water properly. That's because gravity's pulling you down. Oh, I can't turn to breathe. That's because gravity's pulling you down. I get really tired really easy. That's because gravity's pulling you down. So you're just fighting against gravity the whole time because you're right at the top of the water. So let's say, I don't know, 60-70% of your effort is keeping yourself up on top of the water, and 40%, 30% is actually swimming because you're too busy keeping yourself up. Well, most people are too busy trying to keep themselves up, where it should be 0% is keeping you up effort wise. Zero, none, nada. And then the rest of it is purely momentum. It's like, I don't know, if you were laid to lay on like a longboard or something, or a skateboard, or I don't know, something wheels, or I don't know, even like a sledge, and you want to push yourself along. Are you trying to stay up? No. You just dig your hands in the, like, you just put your hands on the floor and push yourself along. You don't like do a push up and try and keep yourself up. So why do you do it in the water? Um, it just amazes me. Like, I've had people sort of, I've had people, adults come to me and they're like, yeah, I can swim, but I just need better technique. I struggle with this, I struggle with that. And I'm like, okay, let me have a look at you swim. And straight away, 9 times out of 10, they're trying to swim on top of the surface of the water. And with floats as well, I'm rambling on a bit, but I haven't got a script or anything. So this is all just talking my mind basically in these videos. I don't have a script or anything. It's very unprofessional, but I don't care because this is coming from just my, well, I said beliefs, but it's pretty much fact as well. You you can't really argue with gravity. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I'll watch them swim, and they'll struggle with just, well, basically everything. The kick will be hard, the arms will be hard, the breathing will be hard. There'll be no body rotation. And yeah, there'll be some things that will work on balance, body rotation and head position and all that. But the thing I do is I just get them doing the very basics of getting them floating and relaxing. And then all of a sudden, everything that they could do before, they can do better. Just because they're relaxing more. So, I mean, you go on YouTube, go and look on some floating channels, and most of them, not all, because there are some different ones out there, but a lot of them will say the phrase "on the surface of the water," and I know why they're saying it. They're saying it because there's less. I suppose it's less drag. You want to be near the top, so there's less drag. Makes breathing easier, but you're still not on the surface. Most of your body's below the surface. It's not even 50-50 probably. It's probably like 70-30. So 70% of your body's under, and 30% max is over the water probably, depending on how strong your kick is and how much momentum you have through the water. That's another thing as well. Momentum through the water will bring you higher. So a lot of people will struggle, but they haven't got the momentum to help lift their body up. So yeah, that's down to technique and stuff. But again, it doesn't matter how much you practice these like drills and everything. If you're on top of the water, everything's going to be hard. And so when I teach, I try to avoid floats if I can. I only use floats and noodles if I think they're going to help and I think they're going to speed the process up. Well, sometimes they do, and a lot of the time they do actually. But what you got to remember is, where do noodles float and where do floats float? They literally, floats pretty much literally sit on top of the water. And noodles are more or less the same as well. So when you're using them, you're holding on to something which is on the surface of the water. But when you're swimming, your hands shouldn't be on the surface. They should be below the surface. So in a way, using a float is bad practice. But yeah, I don't want to get too into that now, but yeah, just have a think about that if you're swimming, and do what you're doing, but just relax a little bit more. Stop trying to be on top of the water and just let yourself sit like even this much lower. Makes a massive difference. You'll feel a difference. And yeah, there are drills and stuff out there that are great drills and things like that, but you can deal, like I just said, you can do drills all day long, but then once you finish the drill, or once you finish the, I don't know, one arm pull drill with a float or catch up drill, whatever it is, if you go back to swimming and you try and swim physically on top of the surface of the water, you're going to have a hard time, because you're fighting against gravity, and gravity's always going to win. And that's basically it. Thanks for watching.